This visit to Easter Island includes stops at Hanga Roa, the Puna Pau Top Knot Quarry, a number of the platforms supporting the famous statues including Ahu Vinapu, the Kai Tangata Cave, the ceremonial center of Orongo, the statue quarry of Rano Raraku, and Anakena Beach. The flight to Easter Island from Santiago de Chile is a long one of some 2,200 miles lasting about 5 hours. Easter Island is one of the most remote inhabited islands in the world, with the nearest inhabited land being Pitcairn Island with its 50 residents, some 1,300 miles away to the west. The modern Polynesian name of Easter Island is Rapa Nui, which is a name given by a Tahitian visitor in the 19th century who said that the island looked like the Tahitian island of Rapa, only bigger, i.e. Nui. Hanga Roa is the first place that an air traveler sees, and it is an area rich in moai, the famous Easter Island statues. These statues required a lot of palm trees to move, and some believe that the island was denuded as a result. Nearly all the moais are made from volcanic rock quarried at the volcanic crater of Rano Raraku. The statues that made it to their intended destination were placed on a platform called an ahu. These statues typically faced inland towards their associated village. The moai that we see today on their ahu were restored by archaeologists, since most of the moai were pulled down and their heads frequently broken off during a period of civil strife that occurred before the Europeans first visited in 1722. Hanga Roa is Easter Island's only town with a population of about 5,000 people, most of the island's population. Its harbor provides the only reasonably sheltered anchorage on the island and is the site of the island's only airport, which is served by Chile's LAN Airlines. There are frequently glorious sunsets behind the moai near Hanga Roa. It was a 1.5-mile hike from the hotel to the Puna Pau quarry and involved crossing fields, a couple of fences, and finally ascending the hill on which the quarry is located. The Puna Pau cinder cone was the sole source of the red scoria that was used to carve the top knots that were put on the heads of some of the moai statues. This lightweight and easily worked stone was also used for a few non-standard moai, including the famous Niang moai at Rano Raraku. At Vinaipu, we can see a number of moai that were cast down from their ahu by islanders and have not been restored by archaeologists. The moai remain where they fell. The ceremonial center of Vinaipu includes one of the larger ahu on Rapa Nui. This ahu exhibits stone masonry reminiscent of that associated with the Incas. In fact, Thor Heyerdahl pointed to this Incan-like stonework as a key indicator of a distinctive Incan influence on the island. While few experts disagree that this stonework here is more advanced than that of the other ahu on the island, the question remains whether this is the result of an Incan influence on the island or the result of years of experience attained by native stoneworkers. Orongo was a ceremonial village on the extinct volcano named Rano Raraku. It was the site of an annual competition by the Birdman cult. There are tremendous views out towards Hanga Roa and its airport from the volcano of Rano Raraku and down into its crater from the rim. Because of the importance of the Birdman cult, the rocks at Orongo are filled with carvings of the Birdman, a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bird. The goal of the Birdman competition was to collect the first sooty tern egg of the season from the islet of Motu Nui. The competition started from the clifftop village of Orongo, and competitors climbed down the sea cliffs and swam out to the island of Motu Nui, where they searched for an egg. Having found an egg, they swam back to Rapa Nui and climbed back up the sea cliffs to Orongo. The race was very dangerous, and many competitors were killed by sharks, drowning, or by falling. The origin of the cult is uncertain, hence it is unknown whether the cult replaced the preceding Moai-based religion or coexisted with it. The Birdman cult was suppressed by Christian missionaries in the 1860s. Kaitangata Cave is located just south of Hanga Roa, not far from the runway. The name Kaitangata literally means man-eating cave, which may refer to cannibalism. However, this is a literal translation. The paintings that decorate the ceiling of this cave are the attraction. Ahu Akivi is an Ahu with 7 moai. The Ahu and its moai were restored in 1960 by the American archaeologist William Malloy. During the restoration, it took a full month to raise the first of the 7 moai using a stone ramp and wooden levers. However, by the time they got to the last moai, the same task took them less than a week. Unlike other Ahu, Ahu Akivi is not located on the coast, and its moai face the ocean and not inland like most others. Te Pahu is a lava tube that was used during the time of warfare on the island as a refuge by fortifying its entrances. The lava tube also had some advantages for cultivating food, including wind protection and better collection and retention of water. At Akahanga, there are a couple of Ahu along with the remnants of an ancient village. Unlike the modern houses today on the island, the ancient houses that the Rapa Nui people built were shaped like their canoes, and they were low to the ground with small entrances. The site of these houses on the coast is very exposed to the winds, with no shelter unless there were trees in ancient times. Somehow the moai were moved from the quarry at Rano Raraku to Akahanga on the coast. Today the Ahu are encircled by their moai that were toppled from them during a period of civil strife. These moai had topknots on their heads, and the fallen topknots rest where they rolled after the moai were pulled down. The drive along the coast to Rano Raraku took us past horses and more Ahu with their toppled moai strewn about them. The quarry at Rano Raraku is the granddaddy of all sites on Easter Island, as it is the quarry where almost all the moai were made. The eastern slope of this volcano is a virtual moai graveyard, with the moai lying in various states of production and transport. It appears as if the production of the moai was abruptly abandoned, leaving a scene frozen in time so that we can look closely at exactly how the moai were carved out of the volcanic rock. At the base of the quarry, moai stand half buried in the slope, up to their chins and noses, from years of erosion. It is unclear if all the moai were intended to be moved from the quarry, or if some were meant to stay on Rano Raraku. As this was a Stone Age culture, the moai were laboriously hacked out of the volcanic rock with hammerstones. Clearly, as time progressed, the ability and desire to produce ever bigger moai grew. The largest moai ever carved remains trapped in the rock matrix. The El Gigante moai is 72 feet long and weighs about 165 tons. Carving the moai was one step in production, but safely freeing the moai from the rock matrix would have been a difficult step, fraught with danger both to the workers and to the integrity of the moai sculpture. One of the excavated moai has an image of a three-masted sailing ship carved on its abdomen. Obviously, this was done post-European first contact in 1722. Tukuturi, the kneeling moai, is the only moai with legs. It is made of red volcanic stone from the Puna Pau quarry. The huge Ahu Tongariki carries 15 moai. The moai on the Ahu were torn down during the interclan strife and then scattered about in 1960 when an earthquake in Chile triggered a tidal wave which hit the coast of Easter Island at Tongariki. The tidal wave sent the 15 moai weighing up to 86 tons several hundred feet inland and destroyed the Ahu. It wasn't until 1992 that the site was restored with funding from Japanese corporations. The restoration took 5 years. Frequently when the moai were toppled off their Ahu, stones were strategically placed so the moai's heads were broken off when they hit the ground. The break at the neckline can be seen on many of the restored moai. Legend has it that a group of long-eared, lighter-skinned people ruled over short-eared, darker-skinned people. Eventually the short ears revolted and killed all but one of the long ears, and after their victory they toppled all the moai. Ahu to Pita Kura supported Pero, the island's largest transported moai. Pero was only toppled from its Ahu in the 19th century. It weighs 75 tons and is about 35 feet long. Some archaeologists estimate that it would have taken 400 to 500 people to move Pero. Pero's top knot is almost 6 feet across and weighs 11.5 tons. The mana stone beside the Ahu is a reputed source of power. Anakena Beach is a white coral sand beach that has 2 Ahu, one with a single moai and the other with 6. Anakena is unusual for Easter Island in that it is one of only 2 small sandy beaches on an otherwise black rocky coastline. According to island oral tradition, Anakena was the landing place of Hotu Matua, the Polynesian chief who led a 2-canoe settlement party here and founded the first settlement on Rapa Nui. An interesting scene played itself out at Anakena when a female tourist in a bikini decided that she'd like to have her photograph taken beside the moai. It is made abundantly clear to visitors that the ahu are considered sacred and are not to be trodden upon. Nevertheless, she climbed up to get her photograph. Some of the enraged locals came over to the ahu and told her to get off. They then insisted that all photographs of her on the ahu be deleted from her friends' cameras. A swim at Anakena is very refreshing on a hot day, and body surfing is also popular. The hotel had well-manicured grounds and a scenic view out over the western coastline with its impressive sunsets. The sunsets along the west coast of Easter Island can be spectacular, especially as the sun goes down behind the moai. The enjoyable stay on Easter Island was at an end, and like the Rapa Nui Birdman, we could fly away to our next adventure.
Take me somewhere nice, to some tired island in your heart.